Firegirl, Chapter 16. She was wrong about being there on Friday. She was out again, as usual. So that was all we said to each other the whole week. I thought about calling her Friday night to remind her that I'd be driving by, which I was still going to try and do. But what else could I say that I hadn't really already said? Besides, this had made me feel so stupid about still hanging with Jeff and thinking that a car was really cool. And Jeff was my friend, wasn't he? At least I had history with Jeff, all those afternoons at his house. I decided to just forget about the whole thing and not bother her. Saturday morning dawned bright and warm. I called Jeff early to nail down the exact time he'd be here, but his phone was busy, and besides, he'd told me like 1,000 times that they would drive by at noon. Cobra time, yeah. It was actually good his phone was busy. Preparations were being made. Wheels were in motion. Cobra wheels, flashing in the sunlight. Ha! I pulled out my car magazines and looked at the pictures, reading my favorite parts again. I needed to be able to talk to his uncle when I met him. At 11:30 there was nothing else to do, so I camped on my bed and peered out my little window to watch cars passing the house. The air coming in was warmer than it had been the day before. Summer was hanging on for another day. It was so much warmer than it was supposed to be. Perfect weather for a convertible. I wondered if Courtney was waiting for us. Jeff had told her we were coming. Then I thought of Jessica maybe looking out her window too. No, it was probably too soon. She was still in New Haven. She wouldn't be home yet. I closed my eyes and tried to imagine gliding out over the yard the way she had talked about, but I kept peeking whenever I heard a car drive by. It wasn't working. Flying wasn't my thing. It was too big. Never mind. It's Cobra Day. Back to Courtney. What was she doing? She lived in a big greenhouse not too far away. I smiled when I thought of flicking my indestructible fingers at marauders and roaring off with her in my fast red car. Noon came and went. Jeff said they'd be here at noon. It was after 12 o'clock. Then 12:15 came. Then 12:25. 12:40. I called him again. There was no answer this time. Finally, they're on their way. 1 o'clock. Had I gotten the time wrong? The day? I mentally checked to see if it was really Saturday, running through the last few days. Doofus, of course it was Saturday. Still, I checked out 3 clocks around the house. It was just after 1:10 on all of them. Positioning myself on the bed again, I waited some more. At 20 after, I made another call. No answer again. Something began to start inside me. Was I surprised that Jeff was so late? I wanted to be, but I wasn't really surprised. This was Jeff after all. It wasn't practical to think that he could do stuff by a clock or be on time for things. So, okay, Jeff was late, just like usual. And uncles, of course, you can't count on them being on time either. Car after car passed by, almost 2 o'clock. I called Jeff's house again. No answer. So, okay, I could have gone with Jessica if I'd wanted to, which I didn't. Something inside me was oozing into my stomach now. What was it? Not anger, not yet. Almost, but not yet. It was something else. Was Jeff mad at me? Was he getting back at me for the whole Jessica homework lying thing by being late? No, that meant he would have to plot it all out. He had to promise that we'd go for a ride in my favorite car and then not do it. He had to think up a big plan about the car and his uncle and give me times and things. You had to put a lot of thought into getting back at someone that way. I looked out the window. No cars passed for a few minutes. Jeff didn't care about that kind of stuff. He didn't even think that way. It was like his shirt, how he dribbled red juice all over it and didn't care that he did it or who saw it. Or the Batmobile he torched. Or the things he said about Jessica, or even about Rich and Eric, or how he treated his mother. He'd probably said things about me too. Jeff didn't care when he did stuff like that. He didn't care now that he was late. He didn't know what other people wanted, and he didn't really care. That was it. He didn't care. 3 cars in a row, none of them a red Cobra. Jeff hated it when his parents broke up 2 years ago. Now his father didn't want him to visit so much, and his mother was always working. They didn't care, so he didn't care. He lied a lot too, didn't he? Was he lying about the blood on his mother's uniform? I don't know. I'd never seen it. I'd never really seen the Cobra either. Maybe there was no Cobra. Maybe there was no uncle. I lay on my bed, still looking out the window, but letting my gaze go unfocused. What if Jeff had lied to me about the car? Would that even surprise me? I had a sudden thick feeling in my throat. My chest felt hollow and sick at the end of the thought, but I had to tell myself that the answer was no. I wouldn't be surprised. Jeff was a liar who didn't care. 2:30 came, 2:45. Now I got mad. It came boiling up inside me, and I started fuming around. Shaking now, I went to the phone in the kitchen and dialed Jeff's number again. "Hicks' house," Jeff chirped into the phone. "So you're home? Where's the car?" I blurted out. "What? Tom? Hey, what's up?" "The car," I repeated, swallowing back a catch in my throat. "Where's the car? The Cobra. You said you'd drive by at 12 o'clock. Your uncle was coming over, remember? Are you coming over now? It's 3. Where are you?" There was a muffled scratching on the other end of the phone. "Obviously, I'm here, talking to you on the phone." "Did your uncle come over today?" "What? Yeah, he was here." "Well, did he have the stupid car?" "Oh, it's stupid now." "What's your problem?" "Did he have it with him?" "No, he didn't." "So you lied." I shot into the phone. "You said he'd drive by and we'd go for a ride." "Well, where are you?" "Lied?" he snapped. "What do you mean? That I didn't come over on purpose or something?" "Well, why didn't you call me?" "What are you, my girlfriend?" There was a pause. I could hear him starting to breathe hard. "So he didn't bring the car today," he said. "So what? My mother needed stuff moved. He brought his other car. I told you she needed to move stuff. She says we might have to move to a different house because my dad's not paying. So why didn't you call me?" "You were talking about it all week. You told me like 100 times that you'd come by with the stupid Cobra. You didn't say anything about moving stuff. You just said we could go see Jessica and pick her up." "Jessica?" snapped Jeff. I froze. "I mean Courtney. What does Jessica have to do with all this?" I felt my throat closing up again. It was getting out of control now. I should just hang up. "You told that girl about the car, didn't you? And you're calling me a liar?" I could hear voices raised in the background. "So what?" I said. "Yeah, I told her. I wanted her to see the car. I love Cobras. I was going to wave or something." This is pathetic. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's so out of control. Hang up. Hang up. Oh, I hate this. "Wave to her?" Jeff said, his voice rising. "The car isn't here today. This is so weird. Why do you even talk to her?" I didn't have an answer. I tried to swallow. The voices were yelling now, and Jeff was moving with the phone. "I'll tell you something," he said. "I'm glad when she's not in school. It's so gross sitting behind her. My uncle wouldn't let her anywhere near his car, even if he had brought it." He started to laugh now. "Shut up," I said. There was a sound of a door slamming. "Yeah, shut up," he said. "I knew there was something off about you. The human dork meets the human torch. You went over to her house, and now you're all about her. Freaking Firegirl. Why would I take you to her house? I just wanted to run away. She's so freaking ugly. There aren't supposed to be people like that. Why does everything have to be so ugly? Ugly, ugly, ugly." I cursed at Jeff and slammed down the phone. I ran up to my room and stayed there for the rest of the day. My mother called me down for supper, but I pretended at first to have a headache. She came in later, but I was in bed with my eyes closed and pretended to be asleep. Both of my parents checked on me. They came quietly to the door 2 or 3 times. My father said, "Tom?" But I didn't say anything. They left me alone after that. Waking up on Sunday, I was all achy and exhausted. As soon as I sat up, I remembered that I had a dream during the night. I felt nervous and my stomach got all twisted in knots when I remembered it. In the dream, Jessica was in a black car. The car had fins all over it, but was crunched up in a mess and was burning. You could see her pounding like crazy to get out, pounding on the windows and then falling down inside the car out of sight. Everyone was rushing around, but the fire was too huge for people to get close to the car. I tried to get close too, but kept being pushed back. Her mother was trying to get to the car too. Then, somehow, Jessica was out of the car, screaming. I turned and pushed my way through the crowd and ran away from her. I ran and ran and ran and ran, and then I woke up.